Hey guys, Matthew here. Today I'm going to show you our standing legs and floating abs series and how you can keep the class moving pretty quickly through transitions between working the arms and abs and then working the leg muscles. I like to do this with my more advanced classes and go back and forth over the machine, and it makes for a great pump and flow and a great series working legs and abs that's not supine or using the straps. You can run that series back and forth across the reformer at whatever pace you like, because you've got your recovery stretches built in. And see if it doesn't amp up, especially the start. Like if your class is like, we always start supine. Yeah, well, there's a reason we start supine, but maybe you can say, all right, well, let's do some mat supine and then get on to standing flow, because we're going to pump it at 7 a.m. and we're going to get going this morning. So just some ideas. Hope you enjoy the workout flow. Start off with your lunging hip stretch, and then twist that stretch so you're going into lizard. Now lizard, I like to go ahead and let the whole body turn. So both feet are pointed to the left here for me, and that right arm is on the bar. And then warrior stretch. If you turn out, stretch out and straighten out. Have them make sure to keep that back straight up and down, so really stacking up, getting the head high and the hips low. And then your long lunging stretch is real nice. I run out of bar, but a lot of people will be able to just push into the foot bar here. So you want to use same side arm. So right arm and right leg back. Now with one prep side done, you can start your kneeling abs. Next would be what I call kneeling abs 1. Mindfully scoop those abs up as your co-contraction. Inhale out, exhale in. Now kneeling abs 2 or up stretch. On the inhale, pull up and lift, and exhale, push back. Inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale, float back. Now keep the glutes engaged. Keep those abs scooped in. And really feel those abs working. Especially on that yellow spring. Last stretch up. You can have them own it going back. Just hold off the back rail and tuck it in. Now just step off to the right side. Lunging hip stretch on the left leg. Then lizard stretch. And on our feel-good flow, on Fridays we do feel-good flow. That we'll hold these stretches and explore these stretches for up to 60 or 90 seconds. So these can be a good little warm-up, prep for movement, or they can be some deep release if that's what you want them to be. And then warrior stretch. Turned out, stacking up, stretching long through the arms and the legs. Now we're back up for kneeling abs round back. Flexing your back. If you want to do a little cat stretch here, even pulling in on that bar, you can kind of get that flexion and that good imprint going. Then keep that flexion in your back. So you push out through the arms, keep your back flexed, as you do the movement, so that movement is not pulling you out of your imprint. Now here we're in our dominant imprint, so you got your rib cage under control, you got your scoop in, and keeping those two things in order as you work through the legs. Then you can pull in and do what I call Sidewinder Stretch. So Sidewinders is a really powerful traction stretch, helping you twist your back, specifically twisting in your thoracic. See if you can feel that thoracic twist, and the push, the dueling push of your arms is going to help guide that twist into your thoracic. Then you can reach that Sidewinder stretch across the bar. I like to just lay my head on that sticky, on that foot bar, and guide that stretch into that rear delt. Sidewinders is a real class favorite. Now we're ready to get a little more active. So if you'll spring up, say to a red, yellow, or up to 2 reds, now we can do standing leg series, which so many of us know in various ways. I like to start off with standing leg press, just stacking up, scooping in, keep that rib cage to pelvis connection constant, and pressing out. And it's an inhale, exhale, hip hinge in. Inhale, full extension, exhale, hip hinge in. And now variations built off of that theme. We've got a flex spine, pumping. Keep your imprint constant, and feel how now that rib cage to pelvis connection is more compact, more compressed. So when you press that leg out, that pelvis does not expand away from the rib cage. Also, make sure you got your neck flexed and you got those shoulders protracting. And the last one to do, say on this first side, would be front split. So you want to hop forward just a bit and split and press back, split and pull up. Split back and flex forward, then pull forward and extend up. That's going to be your more advanced variation. Want to make sure to keep the pelvis square, straight down the line. And always let them have a chance to explore that stretch a little bit. Now with that same spring setup, you're ready to go onto floating abs. So floating abs, our first foundational move is Jackrabbit. So you want to have your ulna bones on the bar, a little wider, hands a little wider than your shoulders, feet up against the bumpers, and legs parallel. Now you lift with the abs, press out slightly with your arms, and continue now the movement with a hip hinge. This is a true hip hinge here, trying to keep that back straight or stacked. Keep that low back stable. Keep that pelvis stable in space. Now I'm working mirror free, and our whole studio is mirror free, and I'm trying to get better at my own body proprioception. If you see something that's a little messy, just let me know. Now from rabbits, it's nice to go into long stretchers. We call it Supermans. So you're going extending, from the shoulder, and then downwardly rotating your shoulders. Upwardly rotate, downwardly rotate. Now through this, the neck has a tendency to get short. Keep broad, expansive, and scooped in the abs. Glutes and thighs stay turned on. One, you can let them go out and own it. Really get long and play with this fun stretch, right? This is a nice move. Pull all the way in, tuck in, roll down with control, and step off to the other side. So I already showed you the series on the right leg, but just to touch base again on the left. We got standing leg press, stacked up, straight leg, knee up. Not a huge fan of knee down. I understand why it's done, to isolate the glute, but I find it really hard to teach, number one. Number two, it's such a small movement. Reality, this is the way our leg really likes to work. A co-contraction of the glute and the thigh. And it just seems more logical to most people, it seems like, at least in our studio. Then you got your back flexion, pumping, staying parallel, straight down the train tracks, flexing your back nice and deeply, and keeping that distance between the rib cage and the pelvis constant. Getting your imprints right. Rib cage to pelvis stays compact on your imprint. Whoo, that's a burner on the thigh. If you're doing it with me, you can feel it. Whoo. And then front split. This is stacked. Now flexing forward and then extending up. See if you can coordinate that flexion and the extension. So as you split back, you flex forward. And as you scissor up, you extend upwards. This combination is going to maximize your length on this move and make that split feel more like a winning thing for most people. Now you've done one round, you can keep going. So bring them back onto abs, kneeling position. Let those arms rest now. So we're going to build up our pedestal position. So with your pedestal position, you got forearms on the bar, and you can do slide outs. I like these guys with a little heavier spring load now than kneeling abs one. So you're squeezing through, co-contraction, and hinging in. Slide outs. Now from slide outs, you can lock them out there and keep the extension in the hips as you work from the shoulders. Pushing back through the shoulders and floating forward with the shoulders. Pushing back through the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, pull. Just going to keep those glutes, abs. Oh, I need to add a little tuck. All right, got that pelvis in order now. And make sure, like I was a little hyperextended, make sure you keep that flexion tiny, or excuse me, keep that extension without hyperextension. Now after slide outs, you can do a level up move called lift and slide. If you want to reduce the spring load down, I like about a red yellow on these. Now here you just brace on those forearms. You can double up the stickies if you want more padding, but lift those knees up, then slide out. So this is a way to get your more advanced students more engaged. If you want to stay kneeling, you can always call the same prompts for kneeling for some people lifting for others. Also, people with knee pain and the kneeling doesn't work for them, this is a great alternative. Inhale out, exhale, hip hinge in. Inhale out, exhale, hip hinge in. Now then you extend them, hold it. They're in a pedestal, right? Now, if you want to add a little more, just scoop it under the shoulders and pull. Inhale, scoop. Exhale, pull. Slide outs with the shoulder hinge. Lift and slides. Then you have them pull in, tuck it, and sink back to shell stretch. Now's a little recovery time before we amp it back up again. Shell stretch feels great. Actually pulling back on that bar. You get a little traction on that stretch. You can even grip underneath that bar. Great, now we're back off to the side. Warrior's press, I like to spring up a little heavier, so say like 3 springs. Now this press is really powerful, but you want to make sure people with ACL pain or knee pain, you might want to keep them parallel. But Warrior's press is going to engage that glute medius more and that outer thigh more. Ooh, I already feel mine lighten up. Now what you want to do is have them set up square, so set up square with your front leg, and then turn out that back leg. Make sure both legs stay turned out as you work Warriors. Both legs stay turned out, knees are tracking along with the toes. If arms on or hands on doesn't feel good, some people like forearm on, but either way you want to look over that shoulder as you work. Then you've got near pumps, or as I call them, wind-ups, and you can really feel this move right here in that glute. This one's super powerful glute sculptor. So you got your wind-ups, near pumps, then you got your finishers, your far pumps. Now with 3 springs, this is real good resistance. Some people might want to pop down a spring. Then as I always say at the end, one long lunge and own it. Just stretch it out. Now with that same spring load, you're back onto floating abs. The next series I like to do is twisted. Twisting tucks and then twisting pikes. So twisted tucks is just like a jackrabbit, except you're turning your legs. So twisted tucks, keep your back straight, stacked, tuck, i.e. hip hinge in, and press away. I try to use the word, I probably should be more constant in this, but I try to use the word tuck when we're imprinting and hip hinge when we're stacking. So this would be, I guess, a twisted hip hinge, so to say. Then twisted pike, keep your back straight, pike those hips up, and extend them back. Try to keep those arms straight, keeping you out there. Twisted tucks, twisted pikes to the right, and then step them off to the right. Warrior's press to take it back on. We got left leg warrior. I have 2 reds and a yellow. It's pretty hefty even for this power former guy. That spring just gets so really drills into that glute medius. Inhale, press. Exhale, hip hinge in. Then you got your pumps, your wind-ups. You want to have them really sit back and down into that standing leg. Don't let that standing leg start to kick them out of the move. Tell that standing leg, hey, sit down in that glute. And you can count them down. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, bring it back in. Then you're on. Turn to the left. Twisted tucks, twisted pikes. You lift, twist, and pump it. Inhale out. Exhale in. Twisted pikes, keep them high, heels high, back straight, stacked, hip hinging. Neck stays long. That's important on this one. You can have them pike at home and recover with a little elephant stretch. That little tractioning, spine flexion, and pulling against the bar. Not elephant to move. Then another great recovery stretch here is Primal Squat. So you actually use the bar, pull back and down, and stretch with the spine flexion here. Don't try to make them stack up on Primal Squat. Now your last and more advanced series, we're putting in the combinations. So we'll go Eve's lunge on a red and yellow, usually about a red-yellow on Eve's lunge. So Eve's lunge is a full extension through your leg, hip, and back, and then a full flexion through your leg, hip, and back. Extending long and flexing in. Y'all know Eve's lunge. Then you can add in star and side support. And this is for more advanced, okay? If you want to come back over the top with something easier, maybe elephants would be a good one. Star and side support. I like to do on a red-yellow. Out. Left wrist goes right smack in the middle of the bar, and then the right turns open. Now here, when you're stacked up, nice and long, you can extend out through that left shoulder, upwardly rotate, and then downwardly rotate to pull in. Extend, upwardly rotate, downwardly rotate. Make sure that wrist is in, it's as neutral as you can get it. You want to be on the ulna bone mostly. That radius, don't grab with your thumb. And then side support. You draw that right leg up. Float it back. And kick it forward. Float it back. And kick it forward. Get that extension and side support. Reach it. Or in star. Then you can twist. Do a little twisting pike stretch. And have them just step off to the right. Work that Eve's lunge, extending and flexing. Extend it and flex it. Feel that full extension. You've got your leg, hip, middle back, upper back, and neck, all extending and then flexing, all those same units. I love the harmony of this move. Inhale, extending long. Exhale, flexing in. Then your last Eves can always be a nice knee down exploration. And back up to star side support. Right hand goes in and twist it open. And from star, from side support, extend and pull. Float that shoulder, outwardly, upwardly rotate, and then downwardly rotate. I like to make that top arm do the exact same thing. Outwardly, upwardly rotate, downwardly rotate. And star. Get your control. Forward and up. Forward control and up, return. And then from that last stretch, if you want to do a crouching tiger, keep that back flat, even extending your back a little bit and arching back. That feels so good. You can have them pull the hips up to an up stretch with fingertips on the bar. And sink those hips back into shell stretch.